to our members of public that are already in the room, the clock sits at 55. When it strikes top of the hour, we'll go ahead and kick off. Katie, is our mic live on the podium? Fantastic. To those that are in chambers and to all those that are within City Hall listening to this broadcast via audio, to all those online via Facebook, to all those on our cable channel, we're going to go ahead and kick off the meeting once the clock strikes the top of the hour. We're about 1 minute away from that. All right, the clock has struck the top of the hour. I'd like to call this special meeting of the council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, thank you to those that are here in person throughout chambers and City Hall, to those that are online via our broadcast, both on Facebook and cable, I'd like to pass it over to Katie to call roll.
Schumate?
Here.
Cox?
Here.
Cosmore? Here. McNabb? Here. Molnar?
Here.
Schumate? Valentine, sorry.
Here.
Wood? Here.
We have all members present. Before we go ahead and turn over to our public comments, I'd like to take a few minutes to cover 6 items. The first item is we're holding this special meeting of council according to Resolution 24-016, which stated, motion to appoint either Sergeant Tim Trush or Lieutenant Detective Bruce Bullard as the next Public Safety Director for the City of Gibraltar, effective October 31st, 2024, pending their interviews for the position on Monday, October 21st, 2024, at a special meeting at 5 p.m. Number 2, I think it's important to refer to the post we put out today. We had met with all teams and felt that this special meeting should be held in our council chambers here at Gibraltar City Hall. It's absolutely critical that this meeting is held in accordance with Michigan's Open Meeting Act. As such, we have allowed anybody from public who wishes to attend in person to attend in the broader City Hall. For those in the room, you can hear the audio. We wanted to make sure that everybody in attendance can hear the audio of the meeting. Furthermore, I want to thank Chelsea and Kennedy and Mary. They have comment cards. So for anybody during public comment does not want to step up to the podium to share their comment or cannot, if they are outside, please capture your name, your address, and your comment on the comment card. Those 3 individuals will be collecting those comment cards, and we will make sure they are read via the chair. It's incredibly important that I also acknowledge that there is on the agenda a request for a closed session. If council motions to enter the closed session, which is item 4 of our agenda, we will exit the council chambers as council. We will go to our conference room upstairs, and we'll allow all members of public to stay where they're at. Number 3 is a really critical one. Elections and the right to vote must be protected and respected. Your right to vote as a member of public allows you to elect your representatives in government. Within this council chambers, you have elected 7 voting members to represent you. In accordance with our charter, their right to motion, second, and subsequently vote must be respected and protected. While we may disagree with one another across this chambers, we must respect the outcome of each vote. In the case of Resolution 24-016, a majority of votes prevailed in carrying the motion, and we are here today to cover that topic. The next item I want to acknowledge is we sit here in front of you as a united member, 7 councils, voting members, our newest city administrator, Michael Blackburn. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that we are here in front of you today as a united group. We must focus on what unites us. Our love for this amazing city we call home, all those that make it possible, and our oath to serve the residents that elected us, and overcome what may divide us. Depending on our actions today and moving forward, I'm confident that we will get through this and will come out stronger as a united council for the greater good of Gibraltar and the long-term path ahead of us. I beg this community and our neighbors to come together at this point in time with respect and civility. We have many important issues that we must overcome together and opportunities that we need to address together. We cannot do that divided. I came across a quote from Henry Ford that I found quite fitting for today. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. Next, we must respect the right of public comment. We have public comment both at the opening of our meeting and prior to adjournment. I ask that your public comments be rooted in respect and civility and focused on addressing the chair. I ask that members of public in this council chambers and City Hall use the public comment section or the provided comment cards that I mentioned earlier and avoid making any comments while another party is speaking. Once the public comment session closes, I ask that you do not disrupt council, as we will have another public comment section at the end of our meeting prior to adjournment. I recognize that many of you may have many questions beyond the scope of today's agenda topics. We, as council, are here to listen, to understand, not to speak today. We'll ensure we address any broader questions or topics of concern as we push forward to our future council meetings, including our next regular meeting of council on October 28th. Before we proceed to public comment, I want to read a letter that was received and sent to council as it pertains to our agenda today. Dear Honorable Mayor and council members, thank you for considering us for the police chief position. It has been a privilege to serve the city of Gibraltar for the past 18 years, and we are proud to call it our second home. At this time, we must respectfully decline the interview opportunity. Given the recent events, we believe it's best for us to focus on our current roles and responsibilities. However, we would appreciate being considered for this position in the future. Thank you for your understanding. Sincerely, Detective Lieutenant Bruce Bullard and Sergeant Tim Trush. Additionally, I won't read every word, but we did receive a letter from our partners at Gibraltar School District. I'll just read the first opening and the closing. We can go into more detail as we need to later. We wanted to reach out to you to share concerns about the possible disruption or removal of one or both of our school resource officers, referred to as SRO, at Carlson High School, referred to as CHS, and Shoemate Middle School, referred to as SMS. And then I will go to the last conclusion statement. In conclusion, we understand that the city has to make decisions that are in the best interest of its citizens. In accordance with direction from the Michigan State Police and to retain the grant funding, we request that a transition plan be established to maintain the current level of service outlined in our agreement without any interruptions. In this plan, we want to make sure that the city considers the safety of our school community and the financial impact that a reduction of service might place on our district and community. With that being said, I wanted to make sure we could open up with those comments. Council, if you have anything to add, please feel free to do so, and if not, we will enter our public comment session.
Mayor, as chair of the meeting, are you going to put restrictions on time at the podium, or is it open mic?
I ask that we respect the nature of the public comment section and be as succinct as possible in getting to your point, but I do not have a plan to put time restrictions on a public comment.
Okay, I would like to say something. I've been up here 7 years. I know our former mayor will attest to all that. He'll bring that up. But I do want to give a few facts because I think at the last couple of meetings, and I know Tina Kuzma had some questions, and people want to know what's happening behind the scenes. So I want to let everybody know how I came across the vote that I came across. So there's just a few facts. So the decision did not come out of the blue, and no one was blindsided. This happened 2 years ago when the police chief was hired. This is 2 years we're talking, not just yesterday, a couple days ago. But this is how I felt. So 2 years ago, when Chief Tangway was hired, and he was never a chief in Trenton, I voted no. And I was the only one to vote no. He is completely aware of this and tells everyone I voted no, so this should not have been a surprise. We talk about that all the time. He knows I voted no originally. So our Gibraltar police were already more qualified with EMT certification, and I backed them. Chief Tangway consented to receiving the EMT certification, but our former mayor gave him a pass because I understand it was his birthday. And that was said at the council meeting. It was said that way. As the Director of Public Safety, he is now in charge of our police and fire departments, which includes all of our EMTs. And I know, Tina, you keep asking me why I keep talking about EMTs. This is why. Okay, so all of our police officers are required to be EMTs. All of our past chiefs were EMTs. So as we are struggling with EMTs responding and having mutual aids, he would be able to respond. Waiting for an ambulance is a very big deal. I mean, a mutual aid can take a while for anybody to get help that way. So now my husband is a retired firefighter and has been falsely accused of padding his fire pay by our former mayor. And the chief and our current mayor, where am I at? My chief and our current mayor did not even back their own firefighter, knowing full well this is a false accusation, and never spoke up for him and had not yet. And I'm not sure what the issue is with that because you all know that he wasn't padding his paycheck. So with all of this being said, Chief Tangway is a great guy. He's very nice, he's very friendly, he's extremely helpful. He is all of that, and I am not saying anything different. Everybody here that works with him loves working with him. But what he is not is qualified. What I'm saying is all of...
Please, I ask that we all respect.
He's not qualified, he doesn't have EMT qualifications. That's where I'm headed with this. All of our...
Please,
all of our department heads should be qualified for their positions, and this administration has been all about change and moving forward. So with saying that, I'm not changing my vote and I'm not resigning, and that's where I'm going to leave that.
Can I respond?
Yes, I ask that we keep it constructive amongst us here.
Well, it's an absolute blindside. The events of October 17th were an absolute blindside. It wasn't on the agenda. Public was not made aware of what was about to transpire, so they couldn't come here and en masse and voice their opinion. As far as being,
Please.
As far as being an EMT, there's no reason the chief of police, director of public safety needs to be an EMT. I'm not really sure if your husband's an EMT, is he? But I heard, last time I heard he was a. MFR. Yeah, MFR. So he gets paid to drive the ambulance. That's all he can do, is drive.
Please respect. There will be a public comment section, I promise you.
Well, okay. So for one person that just gets paid to drive an ambulance, why
Please,
should we
please
have our
respect.
chief of police have to be an EMT? It doesn't make any sense.
And I do want to say this, because we did have a meeting with Chief, and he had told us when we met with him that, he would get that certification. And then as time went on, we had new people coming in, and he suggested to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we had some new firefighters come in who really needed that, and the pay, the cost of the class, he thought the money would be more well spent on the new people coming in and being trained, and that's why we had agreed to him, and the council agreed to allow him to bypass that and use that money to train the people that was actually going to be doing the job. And you were there, Dorothy, when we had that meeting.
I felt it's important, please, any other council members before we turn over to public comment that would like to share any perspective? Okay. Thank you, council members, for sharing your perspective. At this point in time, I'd like to turn over to public comment. I need to reinforce, please, before we have anybody approach the podium, I need to reinforce a couple things. Respect and civility, please. Number one. Number two, with that in mind, allow each other to speak. One person has the floor. Number three, please address it to me on behalf of your collective council sitting in front of you. So I need to hold that respect in the chambers that we're in. For those that are outside in City Hall, please share your public comment via your comment card. The ladies will be collecting it and we will represent it on your behalf here. With that being said, name, address, and any comment you have.
Councilman, Mayor, fellow citizens here in the city of Gibraltar. My name is Michael Schuman. I live on Bayview over here at 30461, and I'm not always able to attend these meetings. I work very hard, very long hours, and I try to catch the meetings as much as I can on Facebook. And unfortunately, I can't make these meetings all the time and always address my opinions like I always do. I'm very involved. I'm very engaged politically. I vote every election. I voice my opinion as much as I can. I want to make sure that I get the right delegates up here that I believe that are voicing my opinion that are going to represent the citizens of Gibraltar on the views that I elected these officials that I wanted to bring apart the best views that I think the city needs to bring forward. Now, the thing that I saw most disturbing the most about the last city meeting was I don't know everything that happens behind the scenes, as in everybody here in the city of Gibraltar. You know, you guys have closed sessions and, just like closed business meetings and counseling sessions and everything. So character comes into questions, and there's a lot of noise on Facebook, and obviously there's hearsay and everything, so everyone wants to get down to brass tacks. So just to be brief, I want to speak to character about Chief. Personally, there was a personal situation that happened, and I left a brief on Facebook. Small bike was left in my yard, and as a single father, this kind of hit hard. This bike I brought up to Gibraltar Police Station. I dropped it off for one of the deputies up here, and I posted on Facebook that this bike was just lost and found, and then, and then I posted not more than an hour later that the owner has been found. I just left it on Facebook as that because the privacy of that individual needed to be maintained. And now I think it needs to be let known that the privacy still needs to be maintained, but actually light needs to be shed on this. Chief called me personally after I let that bike left off here, and to speak to his character. I think he still needs to remain chief of this great city because he served this city to the best of his ability. He put that shield on his chest every day and served this great community. Because what he did, hang on. What he did was he called me personally and he told me that a father from Rockwood was looking for his boy. And the only way he could find his son was that bike that I dropped off at that police station. And being a single father, he told me that he found that boy and he wouldn't know that he was missing for over 24 hours. If he wouldn't have told me that hit home. He deserves to be a member of this great city and to wear that badge. And if this city council does not recognize that for that fact, then that's character right there. The way it was handled in these city council chambers the way it was handled is what I'm more concerned with. The facts of the matter on what handled behind the scenes, on whether or not he was qualified, whether he's not qualified, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me the most was the way it was handled. And Mr. Molinar knows this personally because he's a business owner. If you counsel somebody, you take him behind the scenes and verbally, written, informally, whatever, and you counsel him and you reprimand him in a private setting, professionally, due diligence, and by God, that's how you handle it professionally. This was not handled professionally in the way you're supposed to professionally handle it. And the good thing is we can hold our elected officials accountable. And it's going to show true in the next election, or even if we have to primary the individuals, or even handle a recall election if we have to, if the truth comes out. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Wayne Brannon, 30490 South Gibraltar. I'd like to welcome you to the city, Mr. Blackburn. It's a great city. I've been here 38 years. There are a lot of good people in this city. My wife's family's been around here 60 years. Welcome to the city, sir, and hope you stay a long time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Hello, Mayor Schumate. Appreciate you allowing us to share our concerns.
Just name and address. I hope you're getting to it.
Sorry, Leanne Headkey, 28967 EW Headkey Court.
Thank you.
I am concerned about transparency. That is my biggest concern. I think the other word that I bring to the table is trust, right? We voted for everyone here with the word trust in mind, that we would be informed about things that are happening. I don't come to every council meeting. I don't have that kind of time. Occasionally I watch, but I've entrusted all of you to share with our community things that are happening. This was a blindside. It wasn't on the agenda, which brings all of us to question, why did it happen? If it had been an agenda item, we could have been here to hear the conversation, but it wasn't. And so, of course, no one was here because we didn't know what was happening. I want to thank the people that considered leaving the city council and that they continued to stay on board because we trust them. They were not a part of making a decision to blindside the community. It also sounds like we're trying to hold this I don't know him, other than to know that I feel safe in the city that I live in. I feel very safe. I know that the community is monitoring. When my son died, the police officers monitored our street because people watch for people that are all gone to funerals. Things have little things. Those are tiny things. This is a small town, and I expect to be able to trust the people that are representing us. Mrs. Wood mentioned that he was supposed to be trained. That would have been very simple to correct. Very simple. If you changed your mind, then you should have said, hey, we changed our mind. We'd like to have him trained. Real simple. So to bring forward that that we're removing him because he's not EMT certified, to me, is ludicrous. Beyond that, I'd also like to just express that we're a small town. We all care very deeply about our community, about our schools, about our playgrounds, and we want to know that the people in leadership are doing their job and are being transparent. I'd also like to thank Senator Camilleri. He snuck in later, but he's here as well. I think he recognizes that things are awry in Gibraltar and wants to be supportive. So I'd like to thank him for attending as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview. Welcome. I'm surprised you came. I'm pretty impressed that you did, because all that happened, I would have been like, see ya. But I hope as things simmer down, you'll realize that we're pretty usually a decent community. Just want to touch base on, I will respect that we're not supposed to direct anything to anybody, even though somebody already did to me. And I'm just going to follow up with her. My thought exactly. If you had an issue with his training or what you expected of his training, I don't even know how many hours he works. I'm sure quite a bit. He's reachable by phone. He's reachable by email. He works here. That could have been addressed. That's not an issue to let somebody go. It's not even an option to blindside, and that was a total blindside. And I just want to reiterate what she said, because it was already on my mind. We voted you all in here with the purpose and intent of something, not of fulfilling your own goals, not of fulfilling your own priorities, not of your own personal beliefs, not of your own personal wants. You're not representing yourself. You're representing the entire community. Whatever your personal opinions are, whatever your personal beliefs are, whatever your personal situations are, if you can't fulfill that job, to set those aside and only represent us, you need to resign. If it's getting too difficult, if it's getting too personal, you don't need to be on the board, because you're not up there to represent yourselves in any fashion.
Thank you.
Justice Walden, 30726 Adams. I had a big thing I was going to come up here and say to you guys, and the more I listen to everything that's going on, the more agitated I get. There's two words that are being thrown around that I'm not liking. Blindsided being one of them. I don't think we can call this a true blindside. Being the fact that we talked about this back on August 12th. We talked about Mr. Tangway's contract and the resolution that we had come up with as far as some dual heading. We rescinded that resolution. We did everything that we did. Before I progress, Chief Tangway, anything that I say from here forward, I do not want you to take personal. That being said, when we talk about qualifications, I do think that Chief Tangway is very qualified on the administrative side. I do want to pull this up real quick. As of November 3rd of 2021, anyone that is appointed as a public safety director at the AHJ, authority having jurisdiction, expects the public safety director to serve in an operational capacity, that individual must meet the following requirements. A, he is certified as a firefighter 1 and 2, or completes the council-approved firefighter 2 requirements as specified in R29.405 within 12 months of the date of hire as a public safety director. B, completes the instructor 1 course, fire officer 1 course, and fire officer 2 course within 36 months of completing the firefighter 2 requirements. When you talk about a public safety director, you're not just talking about police chief. You're talking about fire and EMS as well. You have to know protocols. You have to know operational procedures. If you do not have firefighter training, you don't know operational procedures. Do I think Chief Tangway is a great police chief? Absolutely. Do I think he's a great leader? Absolutely. However, I don't believe if someone does not have the necessary qualifications that they should be acting in that capacity. The other issue that I have is the term bullying. As you can tell, I'm a man of a little bit more melanin than a lot of the people that are around here. I grew up in a fairly country area, and I dealt with a lot of bullying because of the color of my skin, and I don't take kindly to bullying. That being said, I believe that everyone has an opinion. I believe everyone was put on that board to do the right thing by their city. And as you mentioned earlier, with respect to making motions and passing things on, I think everybody has the right. And to, in the terms of the News Herald, chastise someone for bringing a motion to the floor, I don't think is fair. I think we're a very strong community. I think we can get through this. But I think we all need to take this as a learning example and just do what's best. That's all I got.
I really appreciate your service. Thank you for your comments.
Can I say something? You think it's fair that this was not given, the public was not given an opportunity to voice their opinions? Do you think it was fair that it wasn't on the agenda?
And if I could, please, from the audience, please let one person speak at a time. And two, I just ask that we keep this constructive. I'm not saying your question is not. I'm just saying, please, let's respect the
Absolutely,
exchange.
absolutely. I don't think that's a fair statement to make, because on August 12th, we had the community in here saying what they wanted to say. You've got a lot more people today, because it was advertised a lot more. There's a lot more semi-facts behind it. There's a lot of who-schmoo going around on Facebook in reference to posts talking about backstabbers and honor and integrity. Kind of falls in the lines of bullying and persecution in my eyes.
Well, sir, if I may say,
Sure.
whatever happened on the 17th was completely without ethics and without character. And that was just wrong. And I have to stand against that.
And
And I'm
you-
going to continue.
That is absolutely you're right. But I also, one more point I want to bring up too, going back to the training aspect of it. I went back and I watched I believe it was November 18th, 2022, when the motion was made for Chief Tangway to essentially postpone his EMT training. And in that motion, the word required was in there. So it was in his contract, and it has still not been fulfilled.
May I say something?
Yeah,
Just while it's
absolutely.
there? I don't want to get in an argument, I just agree 100%. But if you listen to Mr. Molnar's motion and Ms. Wood tonight, never mentioned that night the other night, never been addressed to me. Now we're backpedaling, finding things to try to find. I appreciate it, but I believe it was Carlson High School graduate and rural area, so those were the things that came up, not the EMT license, not the other things. It's unfortunate that we're grasping now, but I think if that would have been a great part of it. But now they didn't bring that up. That was never brought up in the motion that was made. There was plenty of discussion on that motion. The EMT wasn't discussed, except for very briefly at the end, but it was more of Carlson High School graduate, worked here their whole career, those kind of things. So that being said, there's other officers in the police department that, they know, they've spoke with Mr. Molnar since, I know that some of them have called. They feel that they never have a chance for opportunity now in this police department because they didn't go to Carlson High School. And they didn't go. So there's some officers over there that feel that motion has put them with no chance of ever becoming a future chief here.
And I
that's the
absolute-
disappointment.
I absolutely agree with that, and I also want to make mention that I do believe that Sergeant Tim Trush, as well as Lieutenant Detective Bullard, have almost been stripped of that opportunity, because the community has made it very well known that because of the way that this was put out, they will never have their respect. And that's a shame, because they are still community members.
I appreciate the comment. I think if I may, just because we keep referencing a couple different motions, I read the motion at the opening as to why we're here today, just for making sure we're aligned on what transpired previously. On August 12th, The motion was to rescind Resolution 24-008, a resolution of the Gibraltar City Council appointing Richard Tangway as city administrator effective July 1st, 2024, adopted on June 24th, 2024. So I just want everybody to have the background. That's what we're referring to on August 12th. A majority of votes rescinded that motion. So if you hear reference to that, that's what transpired on August 12th. Thank you for your comment. Do we have any additional comments from the public today?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On October 14th...
Well, we all know who you are. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I'm
Just name and
sorry.
address.
I'm Cindy Lear. I'm Cindy Lear, your
Oh, please.
former city clerk.
Yes, yes.
And I
thank you.
live at 29928 South Gibraltar Road. Okay, so back to October 14th, 24, I watched the most disgraceful council meeting I've ever seen. In my 26 years as city clerk, I have never witnessed an ambush and public humiliation of an individual, our police chief, Rick Tangway, as I did at that meeting. Not only did you ambush him, you also ambushed your mayor, your other council members, your city administrator, and your citizens of this community. They had a right to know whom you are supposed to be representing. No one should ever be treated in such a manner. Where is your common decency for your fellow man? Before approving the agenda, you had the opportunity to amend the agenda by adding the police chief topic, which you did not. Hence, ambush. That is an ambush. The actions of Cox, McNabb, Molnar, and Wood were despicable. When you were running for council, you promised transparency. That certainly didn't appear. The citizens of this city were supportive of the four of you in the last election. I believe they were duped. You four were deceived and You four were decisive and divisive council members, not the others as was stated. There was no honor or integrity in your actions. It was also stated that the appointments should come from within the police chief and given to those who grew up in and around the area. I would call that discrimination. Since when did that become a requirement for promotion? Several times throughout the years, police chiefs have been appointed from the outside. The police chief position should be one of stability, not a revolving door. This city has retired many officers which were never in the chief's position. Does that mean they were wronged? Oftentimes, when you work for a small municipality or business, you never get to the top position. If one seeks many advancements in their career, they should seek an employment at a bigger municipality or business. So tonight, at this special council meeting, scheduled for the purpose of interviewing two candidates for the police chief position, I ask, what about the other officers? Shouldn't they also be considered? Maybe you should just stop with the charade for the appearance purposes and make your appointment, since you already know who you're going to appoint. What does this all come down to? It was posted by one of your spouses that the younger officers should be given a chance to be chief. Again, this is discrimination. Unfortunately, these are sad times once again, as this is a repeat of the 1980s over this exact issue, the dismissal of the police chief. It resulted in a recall, the governor having to make appointments to fulfill council seats in order for the city to conduct its business and pay its bills. Yes, elected officials, you should be held to a higher standard. And I have lived here my entire life. I love this city. There's not a thing I wouldn't do for it. I've spent umpteen years, just not with this as an elected position, but volunteering for everything around here. I have got almost 40 years of volunteer experience. Thank you.
Do we have any other members of public in attendance that would like to address council? Chelsea, Kennedy, do we have any comments from the broader City Hall attendance? Thank you so much. I know I alluded to my post today regarding this special meeting, for which I included my email address for anybody that couldn't attend to share a comment. I'm going to go ahead and read those in addition to the comments we've gotten via comment cards.
That was a Facebook comment.
Is a name and address included? Perfect. I have that comment. That's perfect. I'm going to read two comments that were submitted by residents. I'll read their name, their address, and then their comment as submitted. Mary Tebow, 13419 Stoflet. What is the role of our city treasurer, Mr. Fonte? After watching the deplorable actions of some of our council members at the October 14th meeting, there was a comment made by Councilman Molnar about a meeting discussing setting up a meeting with 4 members of council, the 2 members of the police department, and Mr. Fonte. Why is he involved in meetings about employment of our city employees? His time should be put into figuring out where $10,000 went. This is a man that was at every council meeting of the last administration about the transparency of the Horse Island Bridge project, but yet we have not heard anything about it since he was appointed city treasurer. Like I said, his priority should be in finding if there was a $10,000 time card fraud or not and the finances of the city. Please let me know if that is a part of his position. These council people act in their own best interests and not the city. My husband and I have been residents of the city for 38 years, and I'm embarrassed and appalled by their conduct. The second comment submitted with the name and address in context of today's special meeting is, let's see here, Jody Williams, as well as Thomas, Jake, and Nicholas Williams, 28713 Sugar Island Court, residents of Gibraltar for 25 years. Hello, Mayor Shumate. We are unable to attend the meeting in person at 5 today. Our household is in support of Chief Tangway remaining in the Chief of Police position going forward. We also believe the manner in which 4 council members recently ambushed the rest of council, including yourself, Chief Tangway, and the residents of Gibraltar is inexcusable. We believe in second chances, but these 4 council members' integrity, honesty, trust, and character are now in question due to the manner in which they went about this. Those are the only questions that we've received based on the request for those that were not in attendance. Chelsea, Kennedy, Mary, any other public comments on comment cards?
There were a few in the hallway, but because we weren't at capacity, they can still stop.
For those that can't hear, I've heard that all comments have been shared. Sorry, was another comment? Please.
Mayor, I would happily let somebody else speak at the podium and give up my seat since we are at capacity, since I've already spoken. If anybody else wants a seat, is that okay?
I would love that. Please check with any, I see a couple hands going up. Can you please, on your way out, officer, can you see if there's any other members in the hallway that would like to address council?
Mayor, would you mind if I commented on that last one?
Please.
If I have it all. I don't know if I have it all, so check me off. So to answer the comment on, I think the main thing is why is the city treasurer involved in meetings where somebody might think that the treasurer shouldn't be in. But the agenda for that meeting was a continuous concern I had when I took the office about co-signing checks without approval, credit card abuse. I was recently informed of fire department issues with payroll. I had a complete agenda. I was concerned about leadership in this administration. and I was concerned about how we got to the point of where a guy like me has to walk in for the first time and deal with checks that shouldn't be processed without approval. I found a $52,000 check that was duplicated and was going out through the ACH account, giving a vendor another $52,000 that shouldn't have been in his possession. It was a contractor. It was from an engineer, our engineer, that didn't have any waivers back up to support, or AIA documents to support that document. Credit card bills that shouldn't have been processed because there was no reason for any of the purchase. They were made personally. I could go on and on. If anybody wants to meet with me at any time to find out the depth of the problem here, I'll be more than happy to discuss it. But I met with an agenda. The city needed a leadership. As far as I was concerned, we were without a qualified city manager for probably 10 years, up to the point of where Derek Thiel left. Everybody since that time never fulfilled the role of a city administrator with all the due diligence that a city administrator was supposed to enforce in this administration. And we have really good people in that office. I seen the good people for the first time. I know that they were trying to do their job well, because the questions I asked as I was signing checks or trying to sign checks were, I got presented answers. Nobody was trying to cover anything up. So there was a pervasive problem with check signing, approvals, things that nobody in this forum would ever sign if you were in my chair. And I took an oath, and I told people that I wouldn't sign a check if it wasn't on behalf of the taxpayers. Everybody mentions about, we're working for the taxpayers. I work for the taxpayers. I'm the custodian of all your money. There was all our bank accounts. Now, I want you to listen to this really good, because now it's my turn for some of this agitation. Do you know that all your money that was in all your accounts from your previous mayors never had any restriction on who can take that money out? It only required one signature. One signature. All right? And so my question was to the banking representatives, if my wife and I decided to have a brain meltdown and wanted to go to Tahiti, and I needed $3.5 million, can I walk in that bank and sign a cashier's check for the city of Gibraltar since I'm signatory and I don't need anybody's backup? The answer is yes. In fact, you could take it all out, she said. And so since that time, working with this council and this mayor, we are putting those restrictions in place. But that didn't happen before I showed up. Now, to get to the Horse Island Bridge, the Horse Island Bridge is in a process. It's in the infrastructure committee. The infrastructure committee is working with the engineer on it. The engineer dropped the ball a little bit about the core samples that were supposed to be made on it. One of the problems with coring into that bridge is that there's no known design on it right now. I've got patents out of the U.S. Patent Office. It gives us some idea of where the steel is, but we don't want to drill into a tendon and ruin that bridge. So that's set up for October 27th. As far as the engineer is concerned, we got one more test to do, and that's a load capacity test. He's even encouraged us to take that load capacity sign down. It's been engineered at 134 ton. Former council and former mayors knew that, but they kept that restriction of that sign in place for all those years because of that cul-de-sac down at the south end. So that bridge never needed a weight restriction posting. It only needed a dead-end posting or a long-length truck posting. So the engineer wanted to encourage us to go ahead and take it off, but I suggested at one of the council meetings that we leave that on until we get the third load capacity test currently from the same engineer that did the last load capacity test in 2014 or 15. Now, on the August 12th meeting, because there's been, what you don't know about me is I sent a letter to council seeking the same civility that I think everybody wants. And we have a lot of things that we're concerned about. One of the things this gentleman said today is that, he works hard. We all work hard for our money. We have to prioritize that. We have a limited budget. We're around $5 million, and $3.3 million of that dollars go for benefits and for wages. That leaves us with about $1.7 million to operate this city. And our infrastructure is at probably one of the lowest level that's critical. Our water, we're losing 40 million gallons a year that we're paying for water and we're not getting revenue. That's why the treasurer has meetings with people to find out what we're going to do and what we're going to focus on. Now with the city administrator in place, we're going to be able to focus on some of these major issues and seek how we're going to get funding for it. You're not going to do it at $1.7 million. So, it's either that or they're going to tax you right out of this town. And that, everybody loves this place, but $1.7 million as the wages and the benefits go up, at some point in time, we're going to have $5 million, and we're going to have $5 million in revenue and $5 million in expenditures for wages and benefits alone. So commercial development is important. We don't have a commercial development plan. We're going to have to do that soon. We're going to have to get a tax base in here. But going back to the August 12th meeting, there was an accusation on the table about using taxpayer dollars for payroll fraud and abuse. And I've taken that very seriously. We were working behind the scenes with that. The former mayor came up and made that statement, made sure that I heard it. He looked at me and directed that to me, and he wanted to make sure I understood that I'm the custodian of the fund. Now, a little bit, I'm going to keep venting here for a minute. I came in this position, I didn't even run for this position. I was asked, I took it as an obligation, but I took it seriously. Do you know that within 2 weeks, the Wayne County Treasurer was on my rear about getting a bond? They wanted me bonded for $1.7 million, and me personally being indemnified for that amount of money, me personally indemnified in a public setting here. Now, ask your former treasurers if they had that imposed on them, and start thinking about why Rich Fonte has to have a personal indemnified bond on it, all of a sudden out of the clear blue, when no other treasurer had to do that, okay? Think about that for a minute. So, we worked on that bond, Councilman Molnar and I, and City Administrator Vince Pastou, and we found a way to get around the personal indemnification thing, and now your treasurer is bonded, the first treasurer that's been bonded in this city, okay? August 12th, and I'm going to say this, try to say it as plainly as I can. If that wasn't an ambush, council came here to discuss the chief's, let's call it his future, but it turned into a pushback, and the mayor got up and made a statement. I have a letter to that statement. It's the basis for the reason I pushed for a forensic audit here, a special police investigation, because of those accusations. Again, we were working behind the scenes with that. We continue to work behind the scenes. Council approved a forensic audit on it, but the accusation of payroll fraud and payroll abuse focused on one council person for suppression of a vote, which I thought was just wrong. But furthermore, the accusations came a little clearer to me tonight. I signed one half of the check. I signed payroll check one half, the mayor signs the other half. The person that was making that accusation that night, it was in the same shoes as this mayor was and me. They're responsible for seeking approval on that payroll, making sure it's done right, and seeing what the backup is and signing that check. So anybody that comes up here as a former mayor or treasurer and says those kind of things, there's got to be, something isn't right. because you're responsible before you put your signature on that check for approval. So that approval that you're accusing that council person of and her husband and this department on must have been approved because you signed the check and you signed the approvals and so on and so forth. So this gets a little more cloudy for me to understand on why these accusations are brought forth in a public setting like this to suppress a vote and cause civil disorganization in a council meeting, when in fact that mayor and his treasurers had the ability to approve payroll every step of the way. I think I've covered everything and more what she had in this letter.
Thank you, Treasurer Fonte.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
can I ask Mr. Fonte a question? Just a simple question.
absolutely.
First, I want to say, Mr. Fonte, since you came aboard, thank you. You've done an amazing job digging things up. You've researched. You made a statement just in general as you were going through, and you're pretty heated and passionate, and I appreciate that. I'm a passionate person too, about all these irregularities you found and things you found. Just like a yes or no, have you found anything with the police department that I've been running for 2 years?
Absolutely not, Chief. You've been above board on that. The only problem I've had, and I've told the council this, I've said it in my letters, I don't know why the investigation that was completed in February took so long to get into the area that we're at right now. That's the concern I had.
You had mentioned a bunch of irregularities.
I'm not
sure the
saying
public
anything
knew
I
that.
haven't talked to you about, and
I appreciate it. I want to make sure everybody had a chance to address. Thank you, Treasurer Fonte. The bank controls, the credit card policies, the purchasing policies, everything that we've collectively came together to address, including in most recent meetings, is a great step forward, and just appreciate your work in that process. Last comment that's come in context of the special meeting this evening is also from Jody Williams. I read the address, but I'll read it again. 28713 Sugar Island Court. If Tangway becomes EMT certified, will she, Councilwoman Wood, endorse him if that is her only reason? You don't have to respond if you don't want to, but I just wanted to make sure that the comment was read because that was the last public comment we have to cover today. With that being said, is there any other members of public that would like to address the chair this evening before we jump into our agenda? Please.
Leanne Hedke, 289-670 Hedke Court. I just want to say that that's an example of transparency, right? That's what we're looking for, those types of things to be on the agenda. If there are irregularities, I think we should know about that. And so really, that's all we're asking for is transparency and an understanding if we're going to remove somebody from their position, what are the reasons behind that? And it sounds like there's a bit of inconsistency among the council members of understanding what happened in the past and what's required presently. So I think we need all of the council members to get on the same page with the same understanding. And if I believe that we will probably end up in the middle of a lawsuit if he is fired. He has many, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it's pretty clear to me, and we can't afford that either. So I think we need to perhaps reconsider the decision and move forward with somebody who's doing a great job. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate the comment. Looks like we have additional comment. Just name and address.
Yes, Elizabeth Kreider, 30720 South Gibraltar. Mrs. Hedke just mentioned what I wanted to point out, which is something I think for my fellow citizens' consideration, is the competence of this council to not have anticipated the backlash from the community and to not have anticipated, the potential for lawsuits. I'm a psychologist who works in human resources, and not only the termination of employment here is rife for a lawsuit, but what we're talking about in terms of qualifications for filling that position, I'm sorry, geographic location doesn't really count as one of those. And I say that with my expertise in that field. And so just for those reasons, in addition to the comments that other citizens have made about trust and transparency, I just really have to question the competence of these council members for not foreseeing all of these potential issues that would impact us as a community. So thank you.
Just a reminder on name and address, please.
Dennis Ragnone, 13626 Rose Street.
Thank you so much.
Just standing in the back, I want to ask or make a point. The only thing we don't like is he's not an EMT. I work at Ford Motor Company. I've been there 27 years. That's longer than any of your officers have been here. I may never make CEO. So should we fire Bill Ford and put me in there? You know, just because other people want Gibraltar. You know, I got a lot of family in law enforcement. One of them made chief of police, Rapid City, South Dakota, 150, person. You may have to leave here and go to a bigger department. You're never guaranteed to make the chief. And then if you do, are you going to do as good a job as he is doing? You know, I mean, shame on you guys. That was bad.
Tammy Kane, 14350 Stowflat. My comment is for Mr. Fonte. My husband is Bill Kane. He's the fire chief and also works for the DPW. And no, he's been on a 30-hour water break since 11 o'clock yesterday morning. My question to you is you made an accusation to people about credit card fraud. I'm one of them. Have you ever made a mistake? Because his credit card bought a part for the DPW, and I accidentally went on Amazon and did it again. Chelsea called me and said, "Is this yours?" I said, "Yes." And I came up and paid by check. So I think it might be best if you contact that person in private before you go and accuse them. And then taking their credit cards away so they can't do their job. Last night, Garrett, you got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning from Bill. Did you answer?
No, I was asleep.
Bill, or Michael, welcome. But you got a call from Bill last night at 3 o'clock in the morning. Did you answer?
I got it.
Yeah, you got a number, but you didn't know who it was.
No, I got a text.
Okay, a text.
I did not receive a phone call. I got a text.
What happens if he needed something on a credit card? You guys took his credit cards away. You took everything away from him to be able to do his job. How fair is that? You guys talk about transparency and all of that stuff and that you're going to be there for them. You weren't there for them at 3 o'clock this morning when they were out there since 11 o'clock in the morning doing a water break on West Jefferson and then got another water break on Fryer. So you accusing and telling all of the city, I'm sitting over here listening to these people talk about, we want to hear about the credit card fraud. I'll admit it. It's not fraud. It was a mistake. So I don't appreciate you coming up here and saying that, that it's credit card fraud. That's all.
Thank you for your comment. Treasurer Fonte, I asked that we respect, if you have something to say,
Well,
please.
the comment is that I don't think anybody ever mentioned Mr. Kane's name. There's a process of approving credit cards and credit card purchases. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it's a little bit different than Mrs. Kane has put forth. There's a history and a pattern, and we had to address it. So.
And I understand that, but you taking his credit cards and all of the
We
DPW's credit
just,
cards, the next meeting,
Mrs. Kane, we can't hear you if you need, I just want to make sure for anybody that's.
made it sound like he was guilty and all of them.
Are there any further public comments this evening for council? Chelsea, Kennedy, Mary, any other comments that we see in the hallway? Would anybody be willing to step out to allow somebody else to come in for a public comment? Is there anybody out there? Officer, do you see anybody there? Anybody out there waiting to make a comment? Okay, is there any other public comments? We've asked all members in City Hall, all members in the room. We've read all comments submitted. Any other public comments? Okay, at this point in time, we will close the public comment session. As mentioned, there will be another public comment session prior to the adjournment of the meeting. And I'd like to bring us to our first agenda topic. The first agenda topic is going to be a request for closed session by city attorney to discuss a confidential written legal opinion. We'll be looking for a council motion, if you so choose, to enter closed session based on the attorney request. If that motion is carried, we would be going upstairs for that component of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Cosmore, second by Valentine. Any discussion on that motion for request for closed session? Katie, please call roll.
Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
That motion is carried. Members of public, both listening online or via cable, or those that are in the room, council is now going to enter closed session. In order to not disrupt all of you here in City Hall, we're going to go ahead and step out of the chambers. We're going to be upstairs in the conference room. Once the closed session is done, we will be returning back to our seats here in chambers. You're more than welcome to stay here. Officer and officers, thank you for being here. We will be back once this closed session is done. Council, if I can get those mics back to green, we'll wait on our other members. I believe we're using the restroom on the way back downstairs, and then we'll go ahead and return to our meeting pending council's motion.
Chief, you have two daughters and a son? Yeah, okay. Both your daughters are here today? Maybe wait.
Yeah, one's a special ed teacher, one's goes to Detroit Mercy.
Oh, yeah?
Son works in finance.
That's why I went to Detroit Mercy.
Did you?
Yeah,
I love it there.
that's a good school.
Both of them. One goes to Mercy, the other one went to Mercy.
Yeah? Where your son at?
My son just got back from Walker, and had work to do, so he screwed it out, but he's watching.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. He knows his, got a master's degree, knows his financial stuff very well.
You got a good family.
He's got a great job.
You got a good family, man.
Great opportunity for him to advance in his career, like his boss. It's a small company, the boss kind of made him a right hand man. So the boss is now disappearing and having him handle stuff that he's learning the hard way, but he's learning.
Yep. Now that we have members seated, I'd be looking for a motion from council to return to our special meeting.
Motion to return the special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cosmore. Any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Cosmore?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Motion carried. Now that we're back in our special meeting, members of public, thank you for your patience as we had a thorough closed session with our council. I'd like to return us back to our agenda. Per resolution 24-016, interviews of Sergeant Tim Trush and Lieutenant Detective Bruce Bullard. We read the letter earlier today. Those interviews will not be taking place. So it'll bring me to the last item, request to rescind or amend resolution 24-016. Council has a unified statement that we'd like to read to you. That statement is, Resolution 24-016 was to hold interviews of two individuals. These two individuals declined today's interview. There has not been written notice to terminate Chief Tangway. We have a lot to digest and will bring approved agenda items for future council discussion. So that is what we have to encompass our agenda this evening. What I would like to also acknowledge is we have another public comment session, so unless there's other comments from council, we'd like to welcome our members of public for any public comment that you have.
Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview. I think in so much that transpired, I think a big takeaway right now is to not only look at what it's done to Chief Tangway. No one would ever want to be involved in that kind of situation, that public humiliation. I can't think of anybody in your job, in your field, if you would appreciate that. First of all, so that's very low class. Worse was me watching my city employees holding back tears in a meeting. I don't approve. I don't approve of that. I did stop in the next day, wanted to give my reassurance to them, just, I know today's gonna suck for you guys, and I'm sorry you're put in that position. That's not what you're on this council board to do. Our employees are the city's employees. You don't put people in that situation. You look at our police department. Most people can attest to the fact that being a police officer is not a fun job. It's not an easy job. It's got its own, luckily we're a small town, so I'm sure there's not a whole lot of mental strain as it is in other departments, but to add on that mental strain, so not only for Chief, but the people that worked for him. So they came up here that evening. They were heartbroken. They were devastated. What does that say to them? And then to have to work in that situation and work in this limbo, that's not what you were appointed on this board to do. You made a really bad environment, not only for us citizens, but more so for the people that we employ. And that's not acceptable, because at that situation, you know, if you're in a bad mental state in your job, you're not able to fulfill your job well. You know, and their families, the stress on their families. So again, not that is not at all what we put you up here to do. And I'm appalled and disgusted still.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of public that would like to make a comment? If so, please state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Kristen Furman, 30052 White Street. My grandpa told me integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Yes, he borrowed the phrase from C.S. Lewis, but his point still stands. Many people in this room knew my grandpa was a very wise man, and he wasn't afraid of a good quote. Integrity is harder to find. People can hide behind anonymous Facebook accounts or operating behind the scenes. The people of Gibraltar want someone with integrity representing our community. From everything I've heard about Chief Tangway, he operates with integrity. I'm not saying Tim Trush or Bruce Bullard don't have integrity. I vaguely knew them both in high school, and they were both great people from all accounts. I have even more respect for them after the letter read earlier in the meeting. I was born and raised here. I believe the residents of Gibraltar are happy with how Chief Tangway has handled, with grace, this delicate situation. I hope the council are hearing the public opinion and take the wishes of the public into account when voting in the future. Marcia Cosmore and Chief Tangway, we hope you stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional members of public?
Dave Reiser, 14368 Stoflet. I kind of got a question on the original motion for the resolution, because in that motion, it was read that Chief Tangway's last day of employment was October 31st, and that was voted on and approved by this council. How is that not still part of that vote? That his employment ends on the 31st?
Attorney, would you like to speak to that in any capacity?
I understand you didn't give a written notice, but it is in public record that he was terminated on the 31st.
That's the.
So the language of the motion that I have is as
motion was a motion to appoint either Sergeant Tim Trush or Lieutenant Detective Bruce Bullard as the next Public Safety Director for the City of Gibraltar effective October 31st, 2024, pending their interviews for the position on Monday, October 21st, 2024, at a special meeting at 5 p.m. That is the motion and resolution language that was voted on and approved.
Well, in my mind, that says Chief gone on the 31st. I mean, that's the way I would read it. I mean, you're interviewing to replace him. He's not going to be here.
I want to make
We're
sure
just
he can.
we're relying on the exact language of the motion that was passed. So, and that's the exact language of the motion.
Okay, I don't agree with that. But that's not what it said.
Mr. Mayor, did you ask for clarity of that on the 31st?
I'm sorry?
I know there was a clarity question asked in that meeting. I believe you asked a question of Mr. Molnar to clarify, does that mean the 31st is Chief Tangway's last day? I'm sorry, but that's why I'm prepared for the 31st, and I prepared.
I don't want to misspeak because I can't recall specific comments on the record. I'm reading you the statement coming out of our closed session as to what we currently feel is present. I appreciate that.
The language of the motion voted on is what I just read. That's the exact language of the voted and approved. So any other commentary after is just commentary at that point. The motion would have had to been amended to include any additional language. So that's the language of that motion.
That doesn't make any sense. Cody Dill, 13221 Leslie. Then, I guess it might not have been recorded correctly because I remember exactly Chief Tangway saying, well, then do I have the 30 days prescribed in my contract? Councilman Molnar said, well, I will amend my motion accordingly, and that is recorded. So maybe the motion wasn't written down correctly. No offense to you, Katie. But those meeting minutes also haven't been approved by City Council. That was just at last week's council meeting, so those can be amended. I believe the motion is actually incorrect as it was written and sent in. Meeting minutes have not been approved yet. Again, since I'm already up here, don't feel like coming up here twice. Again, I hope that you guys look back at your meeting because that was definitely a conversation that was had. I want to thank Councilman Valentine, Councilwoman Cosmore for staying on. I know it was a difficult decision. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for navigating us through this troubling time. And thank you, Rick, for having to endure all of this. And I would also like to throw out there, since we have two water lines that have busted, thank the DPW. I don't think we announced that. I understand this isn't the meeting for that, but I would like to thank our DPW for being out there the last 24 hours working on our water. Over 30 hours working on our water lines. I do want to thank them for their work. All right. I would also like to ask, notify residents that yes, I am the one who will be putting forth the recall petition. In November, November 13th, when Councilman Cox, Molnar, and McNabb, when their first year in office is up, I will be submitting the language to the county for a recall. There's, I believe, we would have to listen to the county because they will notify all of us of the situation. I believe there's about 10 to 20 days for their review and for a hearing to be held. After that time, once the language of the petition is heard from the county, then they will submit it back to me, and obviously the incumbents can appeal that with the county court, I believe. And then from there, they can appeal, and then there's 40 days that I can't pass around the petition. Once that 40 days is up, because I suspect there to be an appeal, I will go around collecting signatures. I've already got a list of over 300 unofficial signatures, and I intend to collect them all. All right. So written down. So of course I will pass it around, and I will get this amount of signatures needed that are registered voters within the city of Gibraltar. Most likely a recall election would happen around May, which is the soonest that it would happen under state law. That is all the information that I have. Obviously, you can reach out to me if you'd like to sign the petition. I've got several folks that have wanted to pass around the petition. So if anyone has any other questions for me, I'll be open. Anyone can ask. And other than that, again, I'm still appalled by last week's vote. We know what the intent was. Again, I ask that we look back at the meeting video and make sure that the motion is corrected. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of public that would like to address council this evening? Do we have comment card?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay, this comment was written by Tina Smith, 30550 Triangle Drive. First, are we now changing qualifications for chief? Second, is there a health issue? Release from doctor. Third, do we now bully council to vote what they are told? Does anyone care about the water we are losing? Who is taking care of it? So that, I want to make sure that we reflected that. I'll comment on the last one, because that was most relevant to the discussion we had. We reviewed a water loss audit consultant firm who will be looking at leak detection and a deep dive audit of our water scenario. We are absolutely losing water. It is absolutely a problem. And we're looking at this water consultant to help partner with our teams to address it and inform council every step of the way. I don't know, attorney, if you want to speak or anybody want to speak on the other questions. If not, we can take those as follow-ups for consideration. Great. Are there any further public comments?
Kathy Ellis, 30556 East Point. I would like to have a chance to read the 39-page report that Mr. Molnar read last week. I believe it's the intention that it's supposed to be turned in within 7 days. Is that been turned in? And are we going to have the opportunity to have access to that?
Question received. I think we can follow up. I don't think we have an answer for that tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments this evening? Any other public comments? Chelsea, Kennedy, Mary from outside the room? No, I'm hearing no. Well, with that, I'd like to close public comment. I just referred to some of the earlier commentary we opened up with, which is respect and civility is imperative right now. And I beg our community to maintain those values as we leave this room and as we march towards what will be future council meetings, including our next regular meeting of council on October 28th. So with that, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting from council.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Discussion. Katie, please call roll.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Wood? Yes. Cox?
Yes.
Cosmore?
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.